Tourist traps. They are all over the world and all over the United States of America. A lot of times they lean into local culture or stereotypes to try to make some extra money from people traveling through. And sometimes they're just a crazy idea that somebody thought of. And in this video, let me, Jeff, take you guys on a trip all across America to different tourist traps and read some really funny one-star Google reviews to help figure out what makes it a tourist trap, what made these people so upset, and have you ever been to any of them? You'll have to let me know. Special shout out to Jeff Freak Halo for this suggestion. It actually won in a poll I had on my channel, so if you want to be involved with that, make sure you subscribe and leave a like while you're at it. It really helps my video in the algorithm. Alright, let's get into those tourist trap reviews. We're going to start off with a world famous place, the Hollywood Walk of Fame in Los Angeles, California. Founded in 1960 by E.M. Stewart, this place is visited by millions of people a year. It's free to visit, and if you want a nominated new star, it's $85,000. So with all of those visitors and everything in mind, let's go read some one-star reviews and answer the question, is this a tourist trap? The first Hollywood Stars review comes from Jacob. Very disappointed. It's not wow. It's about 1 block long, with too much people selling and pushing to buy. It wasn't clean and smelled like pee. Overrated.
Oh, they're chanting overrated. My goodness.
Here's the payoff. Swung on a missed strike 3.
Do it by car. Ha 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 ha. You can barely see the stars because of too many people walking. Starting off Hollywood hot with Jacob's review there. He did not enjoy his time. Let's go to the next review. And that review comes from Ben. Have you ever wanted to have all your senses assaulted simultaneously? Well, this is the spot for you. Dirty, smelly, and friendly locals. Get called an a-hole by a bootleg Spider-Man because you don't want to spend $20 for a lame photo. Do yourself a favor and head for the Hollywood Hills. Some people would pay good money to get called an a-hole by a bootleg superhero, but not me. What sort of mark do the Hollywood stars leave on Mark? Hehe.
Boo! You stink!
AKA by me,
The Outhouse of California.
dishonors talented performers by smearing human waste on their names. For miles, arrive full of hope and wanderlust. Leave full of pot smoke and with permanent sad images burned into your mind of what a loss of hope and a surrender to drugs and self-control does to destroy your spirit. Avoid Hollywood Boulevard if you want to maintain a romanticized view of Tinseltown. Plan to take a shower after leaving too. Gross. I feel like I would react to this place the same way people reacted to SpongeBob when he ate his special sundae on that one episode.
Hello!
Let's read how Carl's visit went. This has to be, hands down, the nastiest place I've ever been to in my life. Wow, an American icon, and it just smells like piss. Boarded up businesses, business owners hosing the piss away from the night before. Incredible. Just, wow. The Google images and film is all you need. Don't even waste your time. I have a feeling that the percentage of locals that visit the Hollywood stars is very, very low. So those business owners don't really care because they can wash away the remnants of the night before and have a whole new crop of tourists to try to peddle their crap to. Not literal crap. Sometimes literal crap. Alright, let's go to the next review. And that salty review comes from Stephanie. Worst tourist trap I've ever been to. 2 minutes of being on the strip, approached by scammers. CD scam, Spider-Man scam, random old man following us, streets filthy, full of unsavory characters. Definitely not what I expected. I'd say don't bother visiting, especially with kids. Left ASAP. Visiting this place full of human waste with kids is an absolute nightmare. The only way I'd feel safe with a kid here is putting him inside of like one of those giant bubbles and be like, alright, you're gonna roam around in this and then we're gonna burn it at the end of the tour. You wouldn't want them to touch anything. But something that I am willing to touch is Nigel's review. Got to see it when in LA. Go, see, get out ASAP. Lots of places are closed. Places a mess. Homeless people are abundant. Doesn't feel safe. Dodgy characters wanting to charge you to have a photo with them. That review from Nigel really does sum up why the Hollywood stars are a tourist trap. You go to LA, you want to go and see it, and once you get there, you want to get out ASAP because places are closed, there's people all over the place, and then there's people wearing a superhero costume they got from Spirit Halloween 7 years ago trying to charge you $20 for a photo. Let me know if you've ever been to the Hollywood stars and you think it might be a tourist trap. And while you do that, let's go to the next one. Our next stop is one of the most famous places in the entire United States of America. That is the Mount Rushmore National Memorial in Keystone, South Dakota. Construction for this place began in 1927 by sculptor Gutzon Borglum and was completed in 1941. Well, completed. In 2023, there were approximately 2.4 million visitors to this place. Admission's free, but parking is $10. So, would you say Mount Rushmore is a tourist trap? Let's go read some one-star reviews and see if we can answer that question. Hey guys, it's Jeff here real quick. If you made it this far, make sure you subscribe because most of my viewers are not subscribed. I've also opened up channel memberships on my account, so special shout out to Jen, Jawarlhal, Jake, and Steven. Thank you so much for being super Jeff freaks. Alright, back to the video. The first Mount Rushmore review comes from Alicia. 10 out of 10.
Do not recommend.
Rude staff and dogs aren't allowed. Visiting from Colorado and feeling like this was one big waste of time. Totally underwhelming.
Be more welcoming.
Did not even get to see the monument. Will not be returning. Starting off Mount Rushmore great. Sounds like Alicia couldn't get in because she had a dog and the staff was rude because they told her no dogs allowed. Let's move on to the next one. And that review comes from Gondel. TLDR. Cost $10 is hidden.
Parking.
Fee. Kinda small. Is where it is for all the worst reasons. Drive by and take your obligatory picture. Visit Crazy Horse Monument and learn stuff. What we can do with Gondel's reviews, we can keep it in mind while we keep reading more reviews about Mount Rushmore. Does this TLDR review hold up for all the other reviews? Let's find out. Let's read what happened to Peter. I stopped here during a cross-country road trip and ignored advice to just look at it from roadside viewpoints.
Don't make my mistake.
Really, just stop at free roadside viewpoints and be on your way. The monument itself is much smaller and less impressive than I imagined.
I was in the pool! I was in the pool!
And it was also very crowded during my visit. The mounds are beautiful in this area and are a much better reason to visit this area than Mount Rushmore. Well, Peter talked about the size of it and being much smaller than he expected. Have you guys ever been to Mount Rushmore? I never have, but in my head it was always very grand and big, but from the videos and stuff I've watched, it does look a lot smaller. Let's go see what the next review has to say. And that review comes from Iron. Shame! This place is a scam. Corporate America at its best. It is a national park and a $10 fee for parking?
Ridiculous.
Stole the native land.
Destroyed it.
And keep making money. Shame on Zenterra's greediness. Should have just driven by. This is the only place I regret coming to. And while trying to leave, their gates didn't work properly. We got a couple of points with Iron's review. They're the $10 parking fee and the native land being destroyed. And then to top it all off, the park didn't want them to leave. What is this place, a Stephen King book waiting to happen?
The site is supposed to be located on an Indian burial ground, and I believe they actually had to repel a few Indian attacks as they were building it.
Let's see how Rachel's trip to Mount Rushmore went. Way smaller than expected, and paying extra to park a little closer seems like a ripoff. I literally drove by it twice and didn't notice it was there. That's how small it was from the road.
Would not recommend.
The hills nearby are pretty, and that's about the only positive thing I took from my visit. Seems like the common thread about Mount Rushmore is that it's a lot smaller than people expected, and they don't really like that $10 parking, and I don't blame them. Let's see what the next review had to say. And that review comes from Blig.
That is so.
Blig. Jeff.
Stop trying to make
Blig.
happen. It's not going to happen.
Total tourist trap.
There it is! There it is!
$10 for parking when the monument is visible from any surrounding hill. They don't take the national pass.
Rip off.
The monument is great. It's the humans and their greed that mess things up. Just drive around. There are better free views of it. There is a tunnel view, a profile view, and many overlooks. Just search for them. Blake calls this place a tourist trap, also complains about the parking, and talks about how you can see the monument from any other surrounding hill. Do you guys agree that Mount Rushmore is a tourist trap, or are these people's expectations just too high? Let me know while we go to the next tourist trap. And that next stop is the Cadillac Ranch in Amarillo, Texas. Founded in 1974 by the Ant Farm, a San Francisco-based art collective, funded by Stanley Marsh III. Not the one from South Park.
Ah, snake! No, dude, that's a branch. Oh. Ah, snake! No, that's the same branch again. Oh.
This place is free to visit, and you're encouraged to spray paint the half-buried Cadillacs now, which represent the evolution of the car line. So is this place a tourist trap? Let's go read some one-star reviews and find out. The first Cadillac Ranch review comes from Elena with a picture. This was by far one of the worst stops on our trip. It was absolutely disgusting the way people just threw their empty spray cans on the ground. The once iconic roadside attraction is a muddy, soupy mess. The smells of trash and paint fumes. Even if you did spray paint something, it would be covered up in 10 to 12 minutes by the next person. I would not recommend visiting this place unless you want yet another reminder of how humanity destroys everything it touches. At least that soupy mess doesn't include human waste like the Hollywood stars did. Anyways, as you can tell from Elena's picture, there are cans all over the place, mud all over the place, and those cars look pretty, cool? Let's move on to Bruce Review. I got caught up in the hype. It's really different, unique, but had different expectations. Checked off the bucket list. Maybe it's because I'm not from this region of the United States, but the hype of 6 half-buried Cadillacs in the ground doesn't sound that hype to me. Let's see if Julius also got caught up in the hype. I drove 2 hours, 30 minutes from Lubbock, Texas just to see spray-painted cars halfway stuck in the ground. Ugh. Not worth seeing even if you pass it up during a road trip. Huge waste of time and gas. So if I personally was visiting this part of the country and someone came up to me and was like,
"Dude, you want to come visit these cars with me? They're buried halfway in the ground and you can spray paint on them."
my reaction would be,
I don't think so.
those FTX commercials sure did age poorly, sort of like milk left in the car in the summer. But for now, let's read David's review. I think this tourist attraction was ruined when they started the spray painting of the vehicles. The spray paint is so thick, the masses are hardly recognizable as cars. The wheels are spheres from the buildup of spray paint. I'm a fan of graffiti style art, but this isn't it. They should have put up a wall and sold tourist spray cans to graffiti that. It sure feels like the spray painting of the cars is a bit of a touchy topic. Some people like it, some people hate it, some people think it's a waste of time. But what isn't a waste of time is read the next review. And that review comes from Martin. Dystopian Wasteland. We visited in mid-June 2024. There is so much spray paint on the cars, it is oozing down in 6-inch thick globs. Most of the cars were surrounded by muddy pools, and the site was littered with spray cans. If Amarillo is going to promote this as a tourist attraction, they need to get out there and clean it up, including scraping the paint. We came with another couple and all 4 of us left with bad feelings. Either fix it or tear it down. Saying that you left with bad feelings makes it sound like you saw something really bad happen there instead of just being disappointed.
What happened, Martin?
Let's move on to Rain's review of Cadillac Ranch. They sold us merchandise and spray paint all the while knowing we wouldn't even get remotely close enough to use the paint. Wow, the cars were in over a foot of water and mud. Now that feels like a scam to me, but I'm sure once they get their $5, $10 for that can of spray paint, they don't care anymore. Go stand in the mud, that's up to you. So what do you guys think? Is Cadillac Ranch a tourist trap? Let me know and let's head to the next one. For our next stop, we're going to head to Tombstone, Arizona and visit the OK Corral. Originally built in 1879, this place became infamous in 1881 due to a gunfight involving the Earp brothers and the Clanton McLaury gang. The original corral was destroyed in a fire in 1882 and later rebuilt, and now today they hold reenactments there. So is this place a tourist trap? Let's go read some one-star reviews and find out. First up for the OK Corral is Joseph. Reenactment was lame. Something one would expect at a New Jersey sideshow. So-called actors appear to actually be drunk.
Do not waste your time.
It would be really funny to me if those actors were actually completely sober and they were just acting drunk so well that it confused Joseph. Let's go to the next review. And that review comes from a name I'm probably going to say wrong. Ismail? A historical place, but totally a tourist trap. I will recommend only if you passing through. I drove almost 2 hours to get here, and it was a big disappointment. 2 reviews into the OK Corral and we already have someone calling it a tourist trap. Uh-oh. Let's read what happened in Lone's review. This place is so over-commercialized, you can't even look to see what the OK Corral looks like without paying money. The little shops are overpriced and all they have are things you could buy in Hobby Lobby. I would definitely not drive out of your way to see this place. Based on the sheer amount of disappointment oozing out of this review, it sounds like Lone went out of his way to see this place. Let's go to the next review. How did things go for JD? Canceled show after waiting 2 hours for it. Not even worth the trip. Don't waste your time or money. See ya, Tombstone. Go to dessert, look at a cactus. You would get more out of the experience. Hotels, motels, all terrible as well. Even the Airbnb won't respond in Tombstone. Had to cancel that as well. I don't know how they make a living running a business as such. It feels like so far from these reviews that once they get their money, they don't really care about the experience, which is kind of the definition of a tourist trap. I bet barely any locals ever go to the OK Corral, but someone who did is Kerfuffle. Disappointing, and didn't live up to the hype. Cost me $40 for 2 adults and 2 kids to see the gunfight show, which was okay. Restaurants were really good, but basically nothing to do here unless you like to do a lot of shopping. Every place has a tip jar out, and even the gunfighters will hit you up for tips after the 10-minute show. I think something that would make it a more authentic experience is if the gunfighters held people up for their money after the show. Now, that's immersive. Let's read about Mike's trip. Tombstone is a bust. Total tourist trap. I guess 40 years ago it was fun and historic. Now, it's just kind of depressing. A lot of junky gift shops and people trying to hustle you to go to their restaurant or see their dumb shootout shows. It's just an uncomfortable situation, and you're better off spending your money on one of the many awesome things Arizona has to offer. Well, there we go. We have another person calling this place a tourist trap. Do you guys think the OK Corral is a tourist trap? Let me know and let's head to the next one. For our next stop, we're going to head to Memphis, Tennessee and visit Graceland. Originally opened to the public on June 7th of 1982. This is the former house of Elvis Presley, and it's now a museum showcasing his career. There are over 650,000 visitors annually, and over 20 million since it's opened. Tickets start around $77. Woof. So is this place a tourist trap? Let's go read some 1-star reviews and find out. The first Graceland review comes from Linda. Don't waste your money unless you're a fanatic Elvis fan who doesn't give a shit about how it has been preserved. Whoever hired the tour guides needs to be fired. Already knew what to expect, but the straight crap I saw blew my mind. Does the family just collect money and not care? Yes. Not a huge Elvis fan, but he's turning over in his grave for sure. I wish Linda would have elaborated a little bit more on the straight crap she saw. I really want to know what she saw that bothered her so much. Let's go to the next review. And this review was left just a few weeks before I found it, and it's from Adam. We were there on 5/5/2025. The staff was rude, and the lines were short. This was my 3rd visit to Graceland, and by far my worst. I wanted to share the experience that I had bringing my late wife to Graceland and coming with my parents and sister as a child. What a horrible experience. I might also add that the roads coming in and out of the facility and are in horrible repair. Elvis would be mortified. Come on, Presley family. You can do better than this for $80 per ticket. My favorite part about Adam's review is the line that this was the 3rd visit and by far the worst. It's like they've had 3 visits. The other 2 were pretty bad, but this one's by far the worst of it. That's how that reads to me. Did this place jailhouse rock for Liz? Let's find out. I'm sorry. Unbelievably disorganized. Took well over 1 hour to queue up to watch a 5-minute movie and then wait for a shuttle to the house. It was so crowded. You couldn't read or see anything. Another 40-minute wait for the shuttle to get back. They let way Too many people buy tickets per day for the size of the house and internal transportation. Greed over sense for this iconic landmark, I'm afraid. Really, really disappointing. Yep, unfortunately this place is really starting to smell like a tourist trap, but I'm definitely not hating on Elvis, so don't send any hate my way or I'll be returning it to sender. Ha ha ha. But for now, I'll read Lee's review. The mansion was very cool. Audio guide was alright, but the museums were terrible. Random items with no information or storytelling which seemed to be dragged out for as long as possible so they could fit in the maximum number of gift shops. Super expensive tickets as well. Possibly worth it if you're a big Elvis fan to see the house, but otherwise, skip. That's a shame that the museum was so terrible. I feel like you could have like a plethora of awesome Elvis items with cool stories behind them, but it sounds like this place is just a cash grab. Let's keep reading. And that review comes courtesy of Tyler. Right off the bat, they charge you $10 to pull in and park. That's the whole vibe. It's a tourist trap, taking as much money as you'll let them extract. None of it looks or feels authentic. $50 per bus ride across the street with no mansion access? No thanks. We couldn't get out of there fast enough. Instead, I highly recommend spending your time seeing the Sun Studio where Elvis actually recorded his first hit. Sun and Stax Studios are both great tributes to the musical legacy of Memphis. This is a very helpful 1-star review. It tells you why the place kinda sucks and then gives you an alternative that doesn't suck. Thanks, Tyler. Let's see how helpful G. Allen's review is. It is scandalous that it costs so much to see Graceland. It is $84 for the self-guided tour and $250 with a tour guide. How is a poor boy from Kansas supposed to see how a poor boy from Tennessee did well? Well, there are books, documentaries, and even YouTube videos of the tour, so if G. Allen wants to really see how Elvis did, he can pick one of those 3 or many, many more options. Do you guys think Graceland was a tourist trap? I say yes it is. Let me know what you think and let's go to the next one. For this next stop, we might need to call Scooby and the gang because it is the Mystery Spot. Founded in 1939 by George Prather, it's a gravitational anomaly, in quotes, where the laws of physics and gravity seem to be defied, and it's a place of optical illusions and tilted rooms. This mystery spot is an actual designated California historical landmark as of 2014. So is this place a tourist trap? Let's go read some 1-star reviews and find out. First review for the mystery spot comes from Does. My first time coming, and it was very cheesy tour and guide. The guide was hella annoying and not that informative. Felt bad for her, young thing. Tour was $10 a person plus parking. Good thing I didn't pay more than $10 for the tour because I'm certainly not coming back, nor am I going to refer anyone to this place. Well, after reading that, it sure does not sound like Duz had a good time here. Let's get to the next review. And that review is from Sophie. The mystery is why anyone pays to go here. You hear loud oohing and ahhing from the groups ahead of you and think there's something cool up ahead, but it's just something they force you to do to trick the people below you into thinking you're having fun. The entire tour was just some chick walking around showing how level everything is with her proud bubble tool. Then, they give you like 8 minutes to actually explore the house, which isn't enough time to do anything considering how many people they cram in there with you. Want to stand at an uncomfortable lean for 30 minutes of your life? Come to the mystery spot. That's all it is. Now that is pretty scummy right there, making the people on the tour go ooh and ah as if they're seeing something life-changing. That's one heck of a tactic. The next review comes from the cousin of Triple H. It's Single H. There is only one wooden room in this mystery spot to experience the distorted gravity and optical illusions. You only need 5 minutes to finish it, but the guide spent 20 minutes talking nonsense and wasting time. And you have almost no free time, which is ridiculous and sucks. Oh man, his review really got me going there. I feel so bad for him. He didn't get to experience the distorted gravity and the optical illusions. Oh, let's go to the next review. Alright, I regained my composure. Let's read Evan's review. There is absolutely no mystery here, and definitely a tourist trap. $10 per pax, and $5 parking fee just to walk up a steep slope to a small, tilted, disorientating house, which is just a trick of the eye optical illusion that you're standing at an angle. And yes, throw in some lame jokes from the tour guide. I feel bad for all these poor tour guides catching strays from these reviewers. It's not their fault the script sucks. This is Margaret's only review. Let's read it. The only mystery in this spot is why we decided to go here.
Boom. Roasted.
The real mystery is the positive reviews. The biggest waste of time. We spent 45 minutes looking at a poorly built cabin. Our tour guide was clearly depressed. I hope our money goes to their therapy and medication. Even the photos we took looked like a Samsung captured them. Margaret's one and only review is scathing, calling their tour guide depressed, calling the cabin poorly built even though it was built on a slant purposefully. I love this review. This is a top 5 review for me of all time. Thank you so much, Margaret. Let's go to the next one. And that review is from MNRS. 4-hour wait. Not worth the wait. Book in advance if you really want to go, but lean a plank against a wall at home and walk up it instead, then go out for ice cream with the cash you saved would be my advice. Based on the reviews we read beforehand, waiting 4 hours for that tour and everything, that would be a pretty terrible way to spend a day. So do you guys agree that the mystery spot is a tourist trap? Let me know, and let's go to the next one. Our next stop is going to take us to a museum. A UFO museum in Roswell, New Mexico. Founded in 1991 by Glenn Dennis, who was a local mortician involved in the 1947 Roswell incident. Cue the X-File music. This museum is dedicated to that 1947 Roswell incident, plus other exhibits featuring other UFO sightings, Area 51, and other ET stuff. So is this place a tourist trap? Let's find out by reading some 1-star reviews. Let's get the UFO museum started off with K. Disappointing. In one word. Blocks of text on walls which you can read on Wikipedia. People in there with their dogs. Smells like wet dog. And they're growling at each other. There are some displays and some art, but not worth the $7 charged. Not worth it at all. Now, I want to know if the people or the dogs were growling at each other. I'm just kidding, but so far this does not sound too promising. Let's keep going. Let's read what happened to ER. Hopefully that's not short for emergency room. Drove 10 hours to visit this place with wife and kids. When we got there, it was a great disappointment. Nothing like the pics in the website. We went in and out in 15 minutes. It's literally a U-turn and a gift shop. The gift shop down the street was better than the one they have in there. All trash. Now imagine that, going 10 hours to visit a place, you're talking about in the car, you're getting so excited, how long until we get there, how long? And you finally get there and it's just a huge disappointment. That would be one long car ride home. Let's move on and read Junior's review. Grandkids wanted to go and were really excited. They were really disappointed. Not much of interest to kids except terribly overpriced junk in the gift shop. You could spend several hours reading everything at the displays. A lot of it is the same thing over and over. We were not impressed. Now we have a disappointed grandparent and their grandkids. A lot of just disappointment going around at this museum.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Does it continue? Let's keep reading. Our next review is another single letter, and that letter is T. Overpriced, tacky, and boring. Was stoked about visiting Roswell and was 100% disappointed. Not only was this museum a snooze fest, the whole town was. Best sight to see is the Tree of Knowledge at the library. I promise I didn't control F and type in disappointed to find all these people using the word. This place is just one giant disappointment. Let's see how let down Lauren was by this museum.
Lame.
Even though it only costs $5 per person, it's not worth it. It is just like a sad child science fair. My boyfriend and we were inside for a total of 10 minutes. It almost makes the whole alien thing more of a joke than it already is. Also, there is very little information about the Roswell event. Most of the museum is silly drawings and fake alien figures. Would not recommend this museum to anyone. That raises a pretty good question. How do you have a UFO museum when we don't have any real concrete evidence of UFOs? I'm no expert, but I haven't seen anything that's like, oh yeah, that's a real UFO, or heard anything that actually was credible. Let's read what happened to Jim. Was overcharged $300 for a $20 admission. Still don't have my money back yet. Now that is a ripoff. $300 for that experience? I really hope the employee wasn't stealing Jim's money, because that would be even worse. But a $20 ticket for this place after it used to be $5 and $7? That's not good at all. It makes this place sound like a tourist trap. What do you guys think? And with that, you made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching this all the way to the end. Hit that like button if you haven't, subscribe if you haven't, check out this video on screen, and until next time, I've been Jeff, and I can't wait to see you again. Goodbye!